Hello and welcome. I am Cyril Stober. Now, as things hot up on the political scene, the media and the coverage of activities of politicians and the political parties comes into focus. Now, in an atmosphere such as Nigeria's charged political scene, what should be the role of the media? I'm being joined today by a journalist, editor and publisher, Mr. Bayo Ononuga, a one-time managing director of the news agency of Nigeria, NAN. Well, of recent, he's forayed into mainstream politics, and today he's the director of media and publicity of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. Mr. Ononuga, thanks for joining us on this program.
Thank you, Mr. Cyril, for inviting me. I'm happy to be the guest of a veteran like Cyril.
Thank you so much. Well, let's start from the premise of looking at journalism and its practice generally in Nigeria and what's been referred to as the freedom of the press. How free would you say the Nigerian press is?
That's a big question. Let me say, the press in Nigeria is very, very free. But unlike what you have in some other countries of the world, even in Africa, I think our press is the freest in Africa in terms of the latitude we have to publish anything we like, sometimes without recourse to facts or to the responsibility of the media to ensure that whatever we dish out is correct. We are free, and I'm not saying all the newspapers or TV stations or radio stations are irresponsible, but a lot of them now take our freedom to mean some kind of licentiousness, which is not supposed to be. We are supposed to be gatekeepers to ensure that whatever we dish out to the Nigerian public is correct, is factual. We don't put our opinions in those things because we are, as I said, facts are sacred. We always ensure that whatever we give out is correct. But generally, I said the press in Nigeria, and I mean both electronic and the newspapers and even the millions of bloggers that we have today, they are very free. They are free to express their views, free to publish. We've only had few cases, very, very few cases of infractions of the law where we have the law has had to come in to make sure that those who have transgressed are made to face the provisions of the law. But generally, I would say our press have been very, very free.
Well, you've had the opportunity of heading a government agency, the news agency of Nigeria, the Wire Service, and you also have been in private publishing. You were a publisher, and so you've seen both sides of the divide. What would you say are the marked challenges of these two, government, private?
Well, let me tell you my experience. When I was in NAN, what I told the journalists there was that, although we were set up by government, our responsibility is to the people of Nigeria, that the government just served as a mere agent to establish us. In fact, it was very clear in the charter of NAN that NAN shall serve the Nigerian public, irrespective of religion, irrespective of political affiliation, irrespective of anything, that is a Nigerian medium. And I ensured that as far when I was there, that we try to do that. For example, it was a political season. We tried to make sure that we were fair to all the parties, including the opposition PDP, including the ruling party, everybody. Because I was telling our staff, our job is to stay as much as neutral as possible and make sure that we make NAN a truly Nigerian medium. Even though it was government that set it up. But we are first and foremost a Nigerian medium. And we're supposed to report everybody, all the tendencies, not people who abuse government or something like that, but at least all the tendencies we open the platform to all sorts of views. So that's what I saw there. But sometimes you find that sometimes people who work for government agencies or government media, they tend to censor themselves, and in that way they don't fulfill their mandate the way it should be fulfilled. But I didn't have that problem. As I said, as the manager of the news agency of Nigeria. So that's the problem I see, that's the difference I see. A lot of self-censorship by the runners of government media. But in the public media, it's a different ball game. People say the piper dictates the tune. The ownership at times affects what we see that public media publish. Because of their proprietorship or something, they tend to mirror the viewpoints of those who set them up. So that's another dimension to it. But there's a convergence. If you don't, even if you're a government-owned newspaper or government-owned medium, TV or radio station, if you stray away from the path of truth, people just say, oh, it's NTA, it switch you off. If you're a newspaper, they feel that every day you're writing lies and rumors and everything. Before you know it, your circulation starts dipping. And so the public, who are our real editors, who are the consumers of or whatever information we give, they score, they know. And they will let you know that, oh, you are not doing the right thing. You are not really following the spirit of what you should be doing as an objective medium. They are not saying you should not take sides, but at least you should do it with some responsibility to be fair to everybody and to make sure that you stay on the path of truth as much as possible.
One of the most difficult periods, as people would tell you, is politicking generally. When politics is in the air, it's considered as one of the most difficult periods for journalists and media people, because even though they expected to be neutral to a large extent, they still, by their training and background, have leanings. Now, this is different in this part of the world. There are parts of the world where media organizations are able to come out in the open and state their political leanings. That is not part of our makeup here. But then it provides a very difficult situation where you could easily label a certain section of the press as pro one politician or another.
No, there's nothing wrong about that. Every journalist, for instance, is expected to be a political animal. He is expected to have his political views. But look at the laws that govern television broadcasting or radio broadcasting. The NBC code clearly states that we must give everybody a fair chance to express his view. If he's a politician or a political party, you must try to balance things. You cannot just say because you are owned by government and then what you do is to give APC the entire airtime. You have to feature other political parties and other candidates. And I must say NTA has been doing that. I've seen a lot of parties or their candidates coming on here, being interviewed and things like that. That's the way it's supposed to be. Ditto for radio, as I said, your own practice is well guided by the law, by the NBC code, so you cannot just do anything you like. It's different in the public media. Sometimes they don't even follow the rules, and you've seen where some private TV stations or radio stations or newspapers, they carry their parochialism and their bias too far without giving the other parties a fair chance. Sometimes they just run to town, broadcasting fake stories and things that are only to be found out what they had published or broadcast was fake. Find cases where newspapers also go to town, presenting personal opinions or the opinions of their owners as news. And one of the things we were taught very early in our journalism is that facts are sacred. Opinions are not. You can express opinion, but facts, you just have to give out the facts. And what I expect to publish are facts. You have to publish facts first, not just mix your opinion with facts. So, but I said, it is not wrong for the media to take positions, but in taking your position, you must be fair to all the parties involved in a political game. You have to be fair to otherwise people will just dump you, they will not read you if you're a newspaper, or if you're a TV radio station, you have the right to switch off that, that John Dice medium, and that's how they will classify you and then switch it off because they have other things to watch. So, where I said there's nothing absolutely wrong. Newspapers, television, radio can have political view, can have political leaning, but in doing so, they must not do it rapidly. They have to bear in mind that they are public media and they need to be fair to everybody.
Is there a moral burden on the journalist who goes into politics? Now, I'm asking this and using you as an example, for instance, a journalist and now in politics. How difficult is it? Maybe I should ask this. How difficult is it to still toe the path of professionalism, of publishing what is true and factual, and political or politicking, which sometimes might contain elements of not that may be considered as not entirely true? Is there a moral burden here?
Well, it's a difficult thing, I must admit. Every medium has its own bias. Every journalist has his own bias. But if you are too rabid about it, you will lose your audience. Your paper will die, or your TV or radio station will lose a lot of viewers or listeners. But there's nothing wrong in a journalist having political views, a journalist going into politics. If we go back in history in our country, for instance, our early nationalists were journalists. Nnamdi Azikiwe, for instance, he was a journalist. He established newspapers, and he became the first president of our country. People like Bisi Onabanjo, who was governor of Ogun State in 1979, was a journalist. Obafemi Awolowo set up a newspaper, the Tribune, which is still existing today. There are so many of them. Papa Enauro, Tony Enauro, a journalist. And you see, politics and journalism always go together. Most journalists, everywhere in many parts of the world, you find journalists becoming politicians. There's nothing absolutely wrong in that kind of thing happening. It's just natural. You find journalists, when you're in the newsroom or when you write sometimes with certain political viewpoint. As a journalist, for instance, now, I always tell people I belong to the political left. I've been like that even in my student days. I was a member as a student of the Unity Party of Nigeria in 1978, and as a practitioner of journalism, I've remained on the left. It doesn't affect my relationship with the right in using my paper to publish their point of view, and I thought that's the way things ought to be. If I totally block them out or black them out, my papers will not survive. Because people say, oh, that paper is for APC. But I must also show that I'm fair-minded. I must publish what PDP is also doing. So I try to stay in the middle. But I have my first preference that I prefer the APC, which I also belong to.
Right, from a personal experience, as a veteran yourself and a very senior practitioner in the field, you head a media and publicity unit of a campaign of a politician, a political party. Does that pitch you against your former colleagues or your colleagues who, are of the opposing view?
No. Politics anyway is like a marketplace. You go in there, ideas will contend, and what you find is that you are selling a program. What in our own case we call it an action plan. That's what you are selling, and we're also selling the candidates, and we want to push that point of view, our plan, our candidates, and so on. And the other group, other people there who may be working for some other political interests, maybe they also have their own agenda, they have their own parties or their candidates that they are selling, and so on. But I say it's a marketplace, ideas will contend. I don't expect them, when I send them my press release, to keep my press release. I expect them to use my press release, and without necessarily coloring it, just present it as I want it to be presented. And see, marketplace, let ideas contend. Let people outside there make their choice. What I don't like is that where you find some journalists now carrying their parochialism and bias too far, going into character assassination, publishing innuendos, just to run down your candidate or denigrate your candidate. That is not a fair game. That's not the way to do this thing. As a political party, for instance, we are very conscious that what we want to sell are issues, a program of action, what I say we have called an action plan, and we expect the other group and the journalists will be pointing to those other groups to let us focus on those issues, and instead of wasting time and even obfuscating issues. When our duty as journalists, as the fourth estate of the realm, is to let our people be able to make the right judgment, whether they want Party A or Party B or candidate A or candidate B to govern Nigeria in the next 4 years after President Buhari. So I would say I expect fairness. It's one of, despite the opinions we may have, our profession also entails that we should be fair, we should be objective in whatever we do. And I believe I hold those views very sacrosanct, and I expect that my colleagues in the other media will also hold that one sacrosanct, not to indulge in telling lies or to distorting issues which are not normally correct. Even before I came here today, some people media will call you, oh, they have this information, and say, where did you get this one from? This is your invention. It's not true. So my advice is to my other professional colleagues, let us stay true to the ethos of our profession, because that's the only way we can ensure that we preserve this profession. Otherwise, we throw those into the dogs, there will be no journalism tomorrow in our country. You just kill it.
I believe that you're familiar with the matter of bad press. You just mentioned something about innuendos when people publish certain things without facts to back them up. You sell your principle, but as we know, sometimes politics gets to the stage of a fight, a media war, a dirty media war, for instance. Now, in this particular case, your principle has faced both positive and very negative press. And sometimes things have been published. When you get to read these, what is your approach as a journalist and now as one who's selling a candidate?
No, when you see, for instance, coming into the campaign, we had foreseen what we call frequently asked questions.
Right.
What people are going to raise about candidates. and you are well prepared. You have prepared answers to all those issues. And when they keep coming up, we keep saying, oh, we foresaw this thing. And this is our position on those things. For example, especially for a leading candidate, you expect the others to try to throw as much mud as possible on that candidate. They want to pull him down. Oh, is this? Oh, is that? For example, in the case of our own candidate, we've had instances where they will say he did not even go to school at all. I said, read our frequently asked question. You have proof that he went to school. And this is what his school said. Oh, is this? There isn't one they were pulling all over the place that he was convicted for drugs. It's not true. This case came up in 1992-93, and it has been discharged. It was a claimant. What this thing you are talking about is as dead as a dodo. Forget about it. But you see them trying to distort and everything. Even you find cases where journalists are becoming accuser, judge, prosecutor at the same time. I say, no, it's not your business. If any political party has anything about our candidate, the law is clear. Go to court. Go and challenge this. Let the court make a ruling. Don't just sit back and then abuse your platform by turning yourself into a judge, into a prosecutor and judge at the same time. It's not right. And as I said, we have nothing to fear. When they bring all those things against our candidate, we have our ready responses. And we try to, as much as possible, to educate Nigerians, those who have not made up their minds, that this is the truth. The thing about our candidate is that no matter how much they throw at him, he keeps forging ahead. We are happy that he's the leading candidate, he's the one to beat in this election, which is why you find all of them trying to mudsling, trying to assassinate his character, trying to say all manners of things. But I said we are always ready for whatever they are bringing.
Generally, it's been, there's a belief in the air that most Nigerian politicians, well, not all, but most of them, would rather they had a setting where they just address the people and not answer questions. Is that what you think is playing out here? That's where we are going to with this question. It's believed that many Nigerian politicians, they don't want to be subjected to an intellectual discourse, for instance.
Well, that is not true. In our own case, our candidate has held several town hall meetings in Lagos, where we met business leaders, in Lafia, where we met farmers, in Mina, where we met, I think, farmers in Mina, in Lafia, where we met the miners, those who are involved with solid mineral business. And the whole idea is to kind of open a conversation between our candidate and all those people in the strategic sectors of the economy. And it's not like a debate. It's not a debate, it's a conversation, a dialogue. This is our action plan. These are the things we want to do. And then those people also making their inputs known, saying, oh, okay, you want to do this, but from our experience, you can add 1, 2, 3 to what you want to do. And our program has been further enriched by such contributions by the people. Those we think are the voters who are going to make their decision on 25 February 2023. So it's not that we don't want to be, as I said, when you go to a town hall meeting, questions are asked, you answer. Where you are even unable to answer, you call in the experts, who are members of the party, who were involved in the drafting of this action plan, and to lend a lot of enlightening perspective on the issues they are raising. Let me give you an example. When we went to Mina, the governor of Kebbi came with a beautiful blueprint on agriculture. Is the governor of Kebbi is also a farmer, a big rice farmer, probably the biggest rice farmer in northern Nigeria. And he brought out a paper, and I showed you listened and said, wow, this is what kind of paper we are looking for. And I asked him, Governor Bagudu, we are going to turn this into a blueprint that we are going to execute when we get into office. And he said, get 3-4 people with you, go and develop this thing fully. So that will be a pathway to develop agriculture. So this is the kind of dividends we get from engaging in town hall meetings. To me, it's even better than organizing what to me looks like as if you're in the secondary school, you are doing literary and debating society, and this is more rewarding, it's more enriching than that kind of platform. I've seen some town hall meetings organized by some TV station, and what you saw on there was very rowdy. The crowd was very uncontrollable, and even one of the candidates said you will not go for another town hall meeting thereafter.
But that's the current controversy that's raging around now. The question of well, town hall meetings and engaging with the people, all right, but sometimes it's seen as engaging with a set of people who have already preconceived ideas, as against what is referred to as a debate, shoulder to shoulder with an opposing candidate and answering questions on a panel. But that's not been too popular in this country, and perhaps at this time.
I think my own advice to our media colleagues who want to organize debates, I think we should have a central debating platform where I don't need to be NTA or Arise or Chanez. Everybody, you come together. We submit to a central body and organize a debate. Once it's one central debate, I think all the candidates will be obliged to attend. It's not good enough that it's the way we are structured, even in the media. We are segmented. Everybody wants to have his own show, whereas we profit more when we combine our forces and do a central debate instead of all kinds of voices here and there, all kinds of interviews here and there, when we can have one central interview. And everybody, all the candidates will take part in that. That's my own advice. What you have now is that Chanez has his own program, Arise has a program, NTA invited us to one program like that. There are so many of them. And it's not, maybe that's why. And then also, if you have a central one, or a centralized debating platform, like it's done in the US, the candidates will have been forewarned about what we are going to ask them at the debate. In fact, the parameters of the debate will have been well defined. And so if I'm coming there, I will come there prepared to answer those questions. Because if you ask me, what do you want to do about this? I already have an answer. Not that I will get there and I'll be foraging for answers if I was not forewarned about what they are going to ask me. So we need to have a centralized debating group that organize debates for our candidates, presidential, governors, and so on, even senatorial candidates. So that's the only way we can get the best out of all these candidates, not with the one we are having so many. As at the last campaign, we have about 5-6 media organizations who are trying to organize debate for candidates. It will not go well. We need to put our resources together and have one centralized one.
All right, we'll at this point take a short break. When we return, there'll be 1 or 2 more issues we'll be taking up with Mr. Bayo Ononuga. Stay with us on One on One. We'll be back shortly.
Weekend File, your Saturday delight, going to places from the obscure to the hinterland and cities, bringing you development stories and perspectives, connecting the people with government and stakeholders on critical issues of our national life.
We are live in Abuja.
It's 9 p.m. every Saturday on the network service of the NTA. Weekend File, you can't afford to miss it.
Why should we be in a difficult situation financially?
Once upon a time we were rich, but we're not a rich country anymore.
Disaster management is everybody's business.
In all these times, the organization turned to Nigeria. We would as much want to harness the capacity that is within us so that we see how we can become self-reliant.
1 month ended and you said you are increasing warning strike by 2 months. I mean, you are incubating madness.
Even if these are officials of government who have been told to go and enforce the law and they have gone against the law itself, they must be held accountable.
One-on-One, Friday, 10:30 p.m. on NTA Network. Thanks for staying with us. My guest is still here with me, Mr. Bayo Ononuga, Director of Media and Publicity of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. Now turning to the selling of candidates, not just yours, for instance, generally. How well have we performed in keeping to the tenets, not crossing the line, and being able to concentrate on what has generally been agreed as the issues and not the personalities here?
Well, as a campaign group, we have tried to stay more on issues. In fact, we define our own focus as far back as June after the primary, that we are going to focus on issues. The media and publicity arm of our campaign has been doing all that. Focus on issues. Try to avoid mudslinging. What we have witnessed is that the mudslinging is coming more from the other camp, and this we found very unfortunate. The reason we have to remind ourselves that, look, we are not in this campaign to back on a campaign of calumny against any candidate. We want to focus on issues. What do you have? Bring out your agenda. Let Nigerian people scrutinize the agenda. No, not beginning to besmirch people and call them all kinds of names. And for us, we believe we have a good product to sell. A man who has had a good record as an administrator, as governor of Lagos State, a man who has shown that he has a vision about governance, and we believe that the vision he has, he will bring it to bear, reenact it at the center, the national stage. And when we compare him to other candidates, feel that he has an advantage in that area. Upon all that, we are also marketing him on the record of the incumbent, President Muhammadu Buhari, who has done a lot, who unfortunately some Nigerians are refusing to see what he has done. We believe he has done a lot. We believe that in 7 years, in terms of record, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of what he has been able to achieve, he has exceeded what PDP did in 16 years. The records are there. These are verifiable things. If a man came in 7 years, despite that he doesn't even have enough funds, and is able to build 13,000 kilometers of road, and you find in 16 years, PDP was able to do only 8,000 kilometers of roads. If a man comes in 7 years and is able to give Nigeria 5 brand new airports, is able to do a lot of things. He's able to do a social investment program that is the biggest of its type in Africa, and we believe that his records are there, and people just need to open their minds and see these records and applaud him for what he has done.
Speaking of issues, a lot of Nigerians say the issues are very clear and they have remained. Some of them can even go up to saying some might even be issues that are called intractable. They've all been there. Electricity, food security, the economy, security, general security of lives and property, and these things have been there. And so many Nigerians sit and say, is there anything else to listen to?
Well, let me. It's good you mentioned all those things. Let me try to educate our people, and I hope they open their minds and see. We are having problems about electricity today because the PDP government, President Jonathan's government, caused it. I don't know who advised him. They misadvised him by selling the discourse to the wrong parties. The government is not in charge of electricity distribution. It's the discourse that are. As we are talking today in Nigeria, the GENCOs, the generating companies, produce about 8,000 megawatts of power, 8,000 megawatts. But the transmission backbone that we have can only take about half of that figure, about 4,000 megawatts. But Nigerian government is now forced to pay for 8,000 megawatts when the transmission line can only take 4,000 megawatts. And then upon that, the discourse can only take 3,400 megawatts of power. All these things problem we have, the grid collapsing, it's because of this, what I call the dysfunction between the transmission and the distribution. But President Buhari has looked at the problem. In fact, in the last 7 years, he has spent trillions of naira to support the power sector, which is mostly privatized. It's not in the hands of federal government anymore. What the federal government is holding is the transmission line. But President Buhari has now gone further. He has gone further. He has had a contract with Siemens of Germany, and the plan is that in the next few years, this country will not only produce 25,000 megawatts, they will make sure they erect the right infrastructure that will be able to deliver the 25,000 megawatts to all our homes. So that program is there. That's the program he has thought, how do we solve this problem? The problem created by the PDP in their 16 years. They left a mess in the power sector. And the Buhari said, the solution, let's look for something extraordinary. And the Siemens is doing that. They are already in the country. Every Nigerian will know that in recent weeks, months, the power situation has improved in some parts of Nigeria, in many parts of Nigeria, really. So that is about power. So with Buhari's plan, I'm sure this country very, very soon will be able to solve the power problem. He has done that. It's a work in progress. And I believe we are going to go very far. And the economy, we know there are challenges in the economy. We quickly admit that. We have challenges, but as we keep telling our people, we are not an island. Whatever you are having in Nigeria today is not because of government alone, because there are some exogenous factors, some external factors impacting on our country. And sometimes you find, look at the war in Ukraine. Most people didn't know, for example, that the wheat we eat in Nigeria comes from Ukraine. And because of the war, the supply line was disrupted. We've had cases of COVID-19, and the lockdown and everything. There are some economies still suffering from the pangs of COVID-19 pandemic. But the Buhari government has done a lot. Don't forget, during COVID, Buhari government gave out a lot of assistance to companies to the tune of almost 1 trillion naira. 1 trillion. That's what government spent in helping many companies, helping to pay salaries of some companies and so on during the pandemic, and helping a lot of organizations to be able to tide over the problem of the pandemic. So the government is tackling the problem. But I say we are not an island. Whatever we are experiencing, other countries are even suffering it more. As we are talking today now, Britain is facing its worst inflation. The British pound has been devalued, almost about 30-40% of its value. The Americans are also facing problems of inflation. Of recent, they reported that the thing is easing. So it's not just Nigeria. Look at a country like Ghana that Nigeria used to extol as one of the best-run economies in Africa. Ghana's debt alone is bigger than its GDP, and the inflationary rate there is in the 30s, about 38% or so, as at the last report that I read. So, but we are managing our situation better, and things are not as worse as some Nigerians keep saying. Oh, the economy is bad. Is it as worse than Buhari made it? As I said, there are exogenous factors that compounded our problems, but this government is trying to manage it better. And the incoming, by the grace of God, the Tinubu administration has studied the problem of the economy, and I said, this is how we are going to fine-tune a lot of things and make the economy to work much better. from our program. For instance, the budgeting restraint that we'll be having is going to be fine-tuned. We are not going to limit our country in the next, under our own administration, to the dollar economy. We are going to work more on our naira and make sure that our economy is only determined by what we earn from oil, because we are a naira economy, not a dollar economy. And these are some of these changes we are bringing to bear on our economy plan. We want to improve on credit. We want to make sure that the vital sector of the economy get loans at cheap rates. We want to, even the consumer loans, we want to ensure that our people are able to borrow money at affordable rate, so they can buy houses. And then when you are able to do that, and you're able to take a mortgage that can last for 35 years and so on, then you are going to boost the economy, the production of housing, and boost that sector, the building sector. If you're able to, and then the consumer sector, I mean the consumption. If I am able to go to a store and I get a loan or a credit to buy my television set, and then I pay over several years, there will be more television that will be sold, or more cars that will be sold. If I'm able to buy a car, I can pay over 4 or 5 years. This used to be the system, but because of the high interest rate, a lot of things have changed. But we want to bring back the good old days.
Now, if, as you say, Nigeria has a largely vibrant press, media sector, how well has this sector performed in highlighting these things you talked about? Would it be an omission on the part of this same vibrant press, or are there other considerations sometimes when it comes to...
Unfortunately, yeah, we have a vibrant press, but sometimes what I've noticed is that our press, unfortunately, sometimes it's not deep. That has to be a problem of the kind of people who are now practitioners in the media. The media suffered a lot in the 80s, 90s. We lost some of our brightest journalists to the other sectors, to banking, to the oil sector and so on. And we've not been able to replace them. And what you now find today is that many journalists who cannot interpret events very well, or even interpret statistics very well. And so it's a problem. You find instances where you will read a story, the headline will say something, and then you go through and they say, well, this is not what the story is talking about. So we have a kind of a season in journalism today where you find some media platforms or media houses treating serious issues very perfunctorily, not going very deep, and because maybe even the practitioners don't understand. Let me give you an instance. When a fake statement by NTA came out, and some journalists got it, and they went to town with it, they failed to do a simple thing: interrogate that statement. The fake statement was saying INEC was going to probe a candidate about something that happened 30 years ago. If they understand the function of INEC, they know that INEC does not probe. INEC is not a court. INEC is not an investigator. So journalists say, well, INEC cannot do this. It's not the function of INEC. But because of the lack of knowledge, so they just started broadcasting the fake statement, only for INEC to say, no, we don't do this kind of function. We did not even issue this statement. It's not our business. That's the business of the court. That's what I said at the beginning, that, look, if you have anything against a candidate, go to the court and get an order against that candidate, not depending on fake news or fake things to publish. So so many media, honestly, I must say, we are very superficial. We are not deep. The bulk of the media we have today, not deep. I've had even practitioners in radio, television complaining about our media. The way they even pronounce names, they can't get people's names right. You find announcers murdering places in Nigeria, not calling them the way they should be called, and so on, which never happened in the 80s, 90s in our country. And so the standards really have fallen, and it's across board. in electronic media, in newspapers and so on. We have a vibrant press, but honestly, I must say very, very deficient press.
By the way, just on the sideline, since you mentioned this and the loss of professionals to other fields and other, that would principally be because, as they say, there is self-preservation, and the question of remuneration in the media is a determining factor of who stays practicing or who doesn't. With the harsh economic realities, a lot of people would find out that perhaps this is not what can be termed a lucrative engagement.
Anybody who wants to practice journalism is not coming in to hand big money. Journalism is a function of passion. Is either you want to practice or you go and work in the bank where they can give you tons of money. But if you have the passion, if you love the profession, then you are not considering money. You are rather thinking of coming there, bringing your passion to bear, and then using, your knowledge to, because you are a public medium. The practitioners are gatekeepers. You are supposed to enrich society. You are supposed to set agenda. And anybody doing that is not looking at money. What he's looking at is service, first of all, to the public. Our profession is it's not like a typical business. It's a social service. And you need people who are committed to the public, to the good health of the public. And they are the people who will come in and practice for the love of it, not for money, not for material gains. But what you find today is that some journalists are there, you see them blackmailing people, collecting money to write all manners of stories. There are instances where I was today somebody called me and said, "Can you write an editorial? I will pay you money." I said, "Are you crazy? Write editorial for you?" Editorial must be the opinion of the paper, not your opinion. So I said, "No, it's not possible. How can we write editorial for you?" But you find today, there's what people call cash and carry journalism. People are ready to write any nonsense. So far, the money is good. Somebody is paying them to write it. They don't care about truth. But when they do that, I said, the public sees us all. The public say, that medium is irresponsible. Oh, that medium is a purveyor of falsehood. They will tag you. And before you know it, your figures are dropping. Viewership dropping. The numbers of papers, copies you are selling, dropping. Because people have seen through you. And you may not know they are looking at you. They've assessed and said, "Oh, this media is not reliable," and everything starts falling.
And that brings us to perhaps one of the most challenging part of this, the media itself. What is referred to now as the social media, especially in these times in politics, and where largely the question of gatekeeping is maybe secondary now to other considerations. How can this be managed in this setting, particularly with politics in the air now, where anybody with a smartphone?
There are rules. There's a cyber law, for example, that says if you publish falsehood and so on and so forth, the law is there. You can be arrested and charged, and then I think the jail time is about 10 years or so, and with hefty fines and so on. But what we have found in Nigeria is the lack of enthusiasm by the law enforcers to really put bloggers and the social media in check.
Well, let's face it, it's extremely difficult. So technology makes it a lot easier to do these things.
The government has made, the National Assembly, they've made the law that anybody who publishes falsehood and distributes the falsehood on social media, there are laws laws that provide for the kind of sanction that people should get. But what you find is that there have been very few cases where the law enforcers have moved in and arrested offenders who have really broken the law. And if you do that, if you enforce the laws, a lot of people will be cautioned. They will not just go there and start writing rubbish. But I always tell people, don't believe what you read in social media. Always try to verify whatever you see there, because most of the time, a lot of these things are not true. And the best thing for you, verify first. If I see anything on social media, I will go to the mainstream media. Have they published it? If they have not published, I said something is wrong. And then you find out over time, if you wait for some few hours, you find that your fears, your skepticism is justified, and that story may be false.
But then, because of its wide reach and because it's real time, for instance, even the mainstream media are resorting to social platforms to carry their message.
As I said, yeah, both platforms feed on each other. Those are called the mainstream media, the reputable media. Sometimes they pick their news from social media. Sometimes you find social media to picking their news from those established media. But the important thing I said, as our profession knows, is that any item you are going to publish, verify first. Verify. In fact, sometimes a phone call to the subject will solve a lot of problems. You've heard instant people will publish, oh, XYZ is dead. And then you verify. You try to find the person, whether if he has presence on social media or if he has a phone number you can call to verify whether it is true that person is actually dead. I think for journalists or for bloggers, we all do this service to information, information business. If you continue to tell lies, if you continue to, nobody will believe us anymore. For most people, for instance, now, they see social media more as junk. Nobody believes what they publish until they verify. And in most cases, I said, in most cases, you find that, yesterday I was reading something in the paper, in the social media. Somebody wrote, oh, Mrs. Buhari was ill. It was not true. Again, some of those rumors, somebody just heard something somewhere, they rush to press because if those on the, all those bloggers, they are looking for numbers, many views, as they say. So they are ready to publish anything, even if it has no foundation in fact. So, but my advice is that don't believe anything you see on social media, verify. Verify. The problem of social media is the same problem they have in America, in Europe. Everybody is concerned about the kind of garbage that people publish on social media. And each country is trying to make laws to make sure that they can arrest the situation. In some countries now what they do is to sue the platform. If the false news is on Twitter, they will sue Twitter. If it's on Facebook, they sue the Meta company, and so on. So they themselves are now trying to find ways of reducing the kind of fake news, falsehood that people publish on their platforms. And I think if everybody is doing that, if our own law enforcers here are implementing the cyber law, and all those gatekeepers that are everywhere, they're also doing their job, a lot of falsehood in social media will be reduced drastically.
All right, thank you. And on a final note, this is more of a personal thing. The gatekeeper who is now in politics, there's no conflict here. And
well, as a gatekeeper, yes, I'm a gatekeeper. As
you
an editor,
you don't miss the newsroom, do you?
I don't.
You don't miss the newsroom, do you?
Oh, I'm still, every time I make sure I read the news, I follow what's going on. As I'm in media and publicity, so I'm still gobbling the news like never before because I need to know what's going on every time as it concerns our candidate, as it concerns our party. So I'm still I'm not missing anything in the newsroom because the media and publicity, the directorate is also like a newsroom. It's a war room. You are always looking for information, anything that will advance the interests of our candidate and the party.
Well, and it is on that note we'll leave this conversation for now. I'd like to thank you for coming on One-on-One, Mr. Bayo Ononuga, Director, Media and Publicity of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you for coming on One-on-One.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
We'll see you again.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah.
And that's our program today. We thank you for watching. Next week we'll be back with One-on-One. I am Cyril Stober. Continue to stay safe.